card is filled in. Which of these warriors will prove their strength to the world?
Welcome to Versus, a series where I put two things up against each other, whether video games, music, you name it. As long as you guys list it in the comments below, I'll try to get around to doing a video on it. With the newly released AAA title Watch Dogs, I just had to make another Versus video for you guys. There's been a lot of comparisons between Watch Dogs and GTA, and personally I have to disagree with each and every one of those opinions. So that's why I took it upon myself to make a Watch Dogs vs GTA video, so I can show you the viewer that there's a lot of other free roam games similar to Watch Dogs, and it's not GTA. Be sure to leave your opinions in the comments below at the end of the video after you watch the whole thing through, and let me know if you agree or disagree with the games I compare it to other than GTA. And let's get started off first with Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs. What could I say about Watch Dogs? Well, it's a new IP, trying to make a name for itself. When I first found out about Watch Dogs, I always got it confused with Sleeping Dogs. I guess because they're both free roam games and they both have the word dogs in the title. Other than that, that's pretty much the only two things you could compare between those two games. You play as Aiden Pierce, a highly skilled hacker who roams the streets of Chicago, gathering information off of his smartphone from other people. The city's handled very well with a lot of exploration to be done, but sadly, all that exploration is going to be done on foot or in a vehicle, and not in a helicopter or airplane in the sky. While the vehicles you do use are limited and are not customizable, each and every single vehicle feels exactly the same on the streets of Chicago. Yes, the fast cars go fast and the bigger, slower trucks go slow, but that's about it. The traction feels exactly the same, and in my opinion, the driving in Watch Dogs is a horrible combination between Saints Row and Sleeping Dogs. So I guess Sleeping Dogs has a little bit more things in common with Watch Dogs than I actually thought. It's 2014 and this is supposed to be the true next-gen experience that we've been waiting for? Not so much. The graphics are good, not great. It seems like Ubisoft took out a lot of the little details from this game. I don't know if the company was rushed to put this out on the market, or they just didn't test their game nearly enough. At times the city is too clean with no one actually walking in them, and other times there's ambulances flying by you and people on the side of the street beatboxing. Overall, the city is great, despite all the minor little imperfections it has. The elements that make up the gameplay are very unique in my opinion. You could basically go through a whole stage without shooting your weapon and just killing enemies with the surroundings of the city. By using your smartphone, you're able to see basically everybody's income, everybody's backstory, while you can also be acquiring information such as new vehicles, new guns, new side missions, and just overall funny text messages. The smartphone literally does everything you need to do in the game, but the major flaw in my opinion isn't all the great things the smartphone does. It's the repetitive nature of the buttons you have to press. Holding down X and the occasional Y to interact with something on the Xbox One gets boring and dull very fast. And not only that, but it looks like Ubisoft didn't learn from only holding down the right trigger to sprint. I'm not saying that GTA's tapping A to sprint is any better, but I feel like there could have been an in-between these sorts of rather than just holding down a button throughout the majority of the game to run. But all the little imperfections the game has, there's one thing that I actually really enjoy about it, and that's the skill tree. It makes the horrible driving system a little bit better and the combat more fun by allowing you to purchase and craft different items. And you're able to build the skill tree up by doing all the side missions, the side activities, along with the main missions. Now this could just be me. I could be the only one annoyed and mad about this, but I am disappointed that they didn't add the ability to shoot out of your vehicle. Every other free roam game has the ability to shoot out of your vehicle at the enemy, but no, Watch Dogs takes a different approach. They force feed you the hacking system whenever you're in a car by making you use the stoplights or barriers to stop your enemies from fleeing, but sometimes you just might want to kill a dude instead of having to do all these complex contraptions of traps to kill him. I mean, you don't have to use the hacking system, but that's the easiest way to take down your enemy. Now, as far as the other combat game mechanics in this game, the cover system is great, far better than any other free roam game out there such as GTA. It's fast and fluid and I don't find myself getting stuck on walls. As for the soundtrack of the game, they play the right music at the right time in specific moments of the main mission. Though you can't turn on your car radio when you're actually near a mission or during a mission. I find that weird, but the soundtrack isn't bad, but it's not great. It's good. And in my opinion, that's pretty good to have a good soundtrack in your games because not many games have that anymore. Look at NBA 2K13. And the fact that you could actually listen to the radio stations without being in your car by switching onto your phone and playing the playlist? That's revolutionary! Which allows you to walk around the city listening to Nas looking like one bad dude. And since you're there, adjusting the radio station, why not play some mini games on your phone, right? They have a temple run type game where you go running around collecting coins, a horde type game mode as well. And if you don't want to play some stupid phone app, well, go get a virtual trip. You could be destroying the city and killing police in a big giant robot spider. That's awesome. And if that's not good enough for you, if you want to tone it down and be a gentleman, why not play some chess? My favorite side mission in the whole entire game. There's a lot of side activities, a lot of side missions to keep your interest in the game, and that's what I love about free roam games. I'm the type of guy to do basically everything else before the story and enjoy the game rather than trying to rush through and beat the story and find out how it ends. Which leads me to another point. Although it's great to have all these variety of side missions, like I previously stated, it gets repetitive after a while, and by completing all these other extra activities, they don't properly reward you. And I would go way in depth with the multiplayer, but I honestly feel like Watch Dogs doesn't need a multiplayer to be successful. The whole time I was playing the single player campaign, I found it annoying that people were invading my game, and I know I could turn that off, but at the same time, I want that online experience, even though I'll never probably play a single game of it. From what I've seen, the game modes are unique, but I never was a big fan of the Assassin's Creed multiplayer of cat and mouse, and Watch Dogs is very similar to that. Yes, the multiplayer also has races and free roam up to 8 players, but I just find that generic and it's not the same experience as playing the single player. Overall, Watch Dogs doesn't live up to expectations, and luckily my expectations weren't high, so this is actually a great game for me to play. It's honestly a good time waster, and I don't know if I would really want to call it a true current next-gen experience of free roam games, but it is good nonetheless. Since everybody seems to be comparing Watch Dogs to GTA just because it's a free roam game, well, let's compare, shall we? Let's go deep in the heart of both games. For one, you drive cars in both games. 2, you shoot people in the face. And most importantly, like stated, it's a free roam game. So is this why people always tend to compare new free roam games to GTA just because GTA is a successful billion-dollar series now? Okay, that makes sense. And by makes sense, I mean, it doesn't make sense at all. Because in my opinion, those are the only similarities between these two games. Yes, both games focus on pop culture and our apparently corrupt government in America. And yes, in both games, the main character hates the world and all who inhabit it. But that's really about it. In the core of both of these games. Those are the only things you can really compare. With that being said, I really don't want to cut this video short and give you a lopsided opinion. So instead, this is going to be the first versus video on my channel that have multiple new challengers approaching.
Here comes a new challenger.
So with these upcoming new challengers, I decided to go into fine detail on how the next Watch Dogs game can improve by learning a thing or two from other open world games. I've compared Sleeping Dogs and Watch Dogs a whole lot in this video, and surprisingly enough, they have a lot in common, a lot more than I thought before recording this. So with that said, the driving. In Watch Dogs, like I stated earlier, you're not allowed to shoot out of your vehicle. While in Sleeping Dogs, on the other hand, you're allowed to shoot out of your vehicle, but only in certain missions. But they give you fine alternatives from not being able to do so. They allow you to open the door and hit pedestrians, and they also allow you to shove your vehicle unrealistically into other vehicles that you're trying to get away from. In Watch Dogs, you're not allowed to hit pedestrians, only takedowns on enemies. While on the other hand, you could kick a pedestrian in the face all you want in Sleeping Dogs, and in any other free roam game to that matter. The running system isn't perfect in Sleeping Dogs, but it's a whole lot better than Watch Dogs is. For example, all you have to do is hold down 2 buttons in Watch Dogs. But on Sleeping Dogs, on the other hand, if you're running, you actually have to press a button, which makes it more challenging whenever you're free running, rather than just having a simple, easy breeze of not doing anything. Because if you're caught slipping, well, you might just actually run into the fence. and wouldn't be able to get over it nearly as fast. I know Watch Dogs is an Ubisoft game, the same people who make Assassin's Creed, so that's probably one of the reasons why free running is so easy. Look at Assassin's Creed. All you have to do is hold down 2 buttons too. Now let's compare the Watch Dogs' ability to slow down time and get a nice, accurate shot on your enemy. Red Dead Redemption has that too, and it's a whole lot better than Watch Dogs is at doing that. Maybe the sequel for Watch Dogs can learn something from this game. And maybe the sequel for Watch Dogs won't have the most forgettable main character in a video game ever, with his iconic trench coat and hat, because guess what? The Saboteur's Sean Devlin pulls it off 10 times better than Aiden Pierce does. Watch Dogs really needs to find its identity before the sequel, because I've never played a game with such a serious story, such as LA Noire, but at the same time have a wonky atmosphere and side missions like Crackdown 2, Just Cause 2, and most importantly, the wackiest of them all, Saints Row 4. I could go on and on about all the free roam games Watch Dogs could learn from if it produces an upcoming sequel, because the fact is, GTA is on a whole nother level than Watch Dogs and really shouldn't even be compared. GTA is an established series, while Watch Dogs on the other hand is still just trying to make a name for itself. Glad you guys stuck around to the end of the video. Be sure to leave your opinions in the comments below on which game you prefer, Watch Dogs, GTA, or any of the other games I mentioned, or any of the games I missed mentioning. Also in the comment section, please leave some ideas for my next Versus episode, because with more comments from you guys, the more variety this series will have in the future. And I don't normally ask this from you guys, but please, 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 if you guys would like and share this video with anybody you know, it would greatly be appreciated, because all the hours of hard work put into making this video and just making this series in general. These videos do take a lot longer to make and upload to YouTube than any of my other videos, and I really hope it does pay off in the feedback I get from this. With that said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.